Welcome back to another episode of Vintage Guitar Legacies. I'm your host, Sarah James, and today we're here at Black Mountain Guitar in Cave Creek, Arizona, with my dear friend, owner, Ed Heisler, featuring the absolutely iconic 1959 Gibson Les Paul. Let's dive in. Today, we dive into the history of one of the most iconic and celebrated electric guitars ever made, the legendary 1959 Gibson Les Paul. I can't believe I'm actually holding this. There's a pretty significant general consensus among real guitarists worldwide that this special model is the greatest electric guitar ever built. The engineers at Gibson were either very talented or really lucky, but whichever one it was, it's beyond doubt that the Pochonnet mixed-up in 1959 was the stuff of legend. In the late 50s, Gibson was searching for a way to compete with Fender's popular Stratocaster. Enter the Les Paul, named after the famed guitarist and inventor. It features a mahogany body made from centuries-old mahogany, a carved maple top, and a set mahogany neck, all combining to produce a rich, warm tone with unmatched sustain. What truly sets the 59 Les Paul apart are its PAF, patent applied for, humbucking pickups. These pickups gave the guitar a thicker, more powerful sound that could cut through the mix in a way single coil pickups simply could not. Ed Heisler.
Hey, how
well,
you
it's
doing,
really
Sarah?
good to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks you for opening your shop for us to take Guitar Legacies on the road, so to speak.
Yeah, it's great having you here.
Yeah.
Guitar Legacies here.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
awesome.
When you took this in and you first held it, what was that like for you?
It's an amazing story. It's a son of the owner who's unfortunately his father is not well. So they decided they needed to let go of their pieces. So they trusted us with them as he was a customer of ours. And we were honored to do this, not only because they're great pieces, because of who they are too. And my son Kyle and I went over to their house and we looked at them, and Josh, he was just like, he was just emotional as seeing Kyle and I just with this guitar and how the excitement and just like, wow, this is a 59 Les Paul. I mean, guitar players go through their whole life only dreaming. And here we were holding this guitar. It was just, it's surreal. It's just really a surreal moment. It's like when I was an 18-year-old kid, I remember walking to a guitar store and there was one hanging on the wall. And I remember looking at that and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I want that guitar. And then it was like $4,800,
Back then.
And that would have been 84. And I remember two things I thought. Well, first of all, $4,800 was like $4.8 million to an 18-year-old kid. I mean, it was just
That's a car.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, right.
Yeah, I think it was less than a car.
Volkswagen.
More than a car.
Right, yeah.
I remember, and then the other thing is who would pay that much money for that guitar?
Right, yeah, right. For a guitar, really?
Yeah. So, but it's just, but now look at them. They're going up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. I watched through the 90s as they went from 20, 30 to 70, 80, 90. Some have sold for $500,000. I mean, it's unbelievable. And then obviously, those are ones that don't have a name. The ones that have names attached to them. Then million plus, depending on what they
exactly.
are. So
Yeah.
it's the iconic guitar. I mean, when it came out in the late 50s, it was not. My dad was in a band. A friend of his had one because it was affordable. Everybody in late 50s wanted a Fender Strat because of Buddy Holly.
Yeah, right. Yes.
They wanted a Telecaster because of Jane Bird. They wanted a Gretsch because of Dwayne Eddy. Nobody was playing these. Nobody was buying them. You could find them cheap. And then come the late 60s, Jeff Beck with the Yardbirds, Eric Clapton, all these people. And iconically, Jimmy Page in the 70s with Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. One of my favorite artists, Phil Keaggy.
Yeah.
Had that beautiful cherry top.
Now, Phil was in here recently.
I know you said that.
Phil was in
here.
here.
You didn't call me.
I'm sorry. But it's funny because Phil talked about that guitar.
Yes.
And he talked about it.
He had a cross on the headstock.
He was standing right here, right to my right here, and he said, and he was looking at, I had to get Les Paul sent over, and he goes, Ed, I had a Les Paul in I think he said it was a 60.
Yeah.
And he said, I love the guitar, but Joe Waltz traded me his Strat for it.
Oh, gosh.
And he goes, now that, it's like that guitar's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he's got the Strat, which is worth, 40, 50, who knows? Actually, because their names are attached to it. Who knows what they go for an auction.
Yeah.
But it was a humorous moment with Phil.
That was one of my first real exposures to the Les Paul. I was, Phil, I think, was 18 years old at the time, 18, 19, in Ohio. He came over, did a little concert with glass harp in like a little trailer. And I was just so taken with that guitar. I wanted one so bad, but I couldn't play like him. So I said, let's stick to my my acoustic. Yeah.
Incredible guitar.
We have a lot of subscribers on a very wide range of experience and exposure to guitars and instruments. And everyone from just somebody who's really interested to somebody who's very steeped in all the knowledge and so forth. But to the average person, what would you say that makes this guitar so special?
It's like, somebody that's not a guitar player, or even a new guitar player may not even understand it. But people that grew up in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, they grew up with this guitar.
It's in the head.
They're heroes. Watch them play it. There's not a lot of them out there, and it's just, it's iconic, and they didn't make many because it didn't sell well. They didn't make many of them. And
crazy. And
that's why, we got on the back wall over here, I got a Murphy Lab Gibson that's selling for, $8,500. Some are going for some of the Gibson reissues.
What's Murphy Lab?
Murphy Lab is Gibson's like custom shop, Tom Murphy.
Okay.
Yeah. And he makes relic 59 Les Pauls. And then makes them look old.
Yeah.
And then they also have what they call an R9, which is like a reissue of the 59 that you can buy. And
I have an R8, actually.
Do you? I have an R9. I really like it a lot, yeah.
Well, mine's older.
But my point is, some of the reissues from the 90s now are going for $20,000, $30,000 already.
Wow.
Already, some of those are becoming now technically vintage because...
Who would have thought?
Yeah, it's kind of funny to think about. There are actually reissues of this guitar, that were made over 30 years ago that were only, this guitar was barely even vintage then, technically, because then they're now older than what this one was when they became a reissue. So I don't know if that makes sense.
What's that make us?
That makes us very young at heart.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very wise.
Yes.
Ed, thank you so much. I enjoyed being in your shop today and sharing this incredible treasure. I appreciate your time and your talent.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You betcha.
Glad you came to the shop today.
Yeah.
Saved me a trip to your house.
I came to the shop, not to shop.
You should come here to shop and shop.
Hey, be sure to check out Black Mountain Guitar in Cave Creek, Arizona, and at blackmountainguitar.com. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and subscribe for more episodes. We'll see you next time.